was so nice of him. I mean, TJ used to be the worst, and now he's the best.
So why is Buffy saying that about TJ? Let's break down season 3, episode 18 of Andy Mack and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and thanks so much for coming back and hanging out with me right here on my channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, this week's episode of Andy Mack honestly was like a jam-packed one because instead of just like 2 or 3 storylines, it felt like every main character had something big going on. And I really liked this episode because it really showcased the character development for 2 particular characters, Buffy and TJ. Yes, once mortal enemies are now actually helping each other and saying nice things about each other. Did we ever think that day would come, honestly? We finally also got to see Jonah show emotions, which I feel like we have been lacking since his anxiety storyline. Like, he finally shows that he, can care about somebody. So let's go ahead and just break down this whole episode. First up, we'll talk about Andy. She's still struggling with whether or not she should submit her application for Sava, the art high school. Now, at the end of the last episode, we saw Bex going from being Andy's biggest cheerleader, like, yes, Andy, you should apply, to being a little more cautious and kind of like the, yes, Andy, you should, but her tone and voice kind of showed that she was now worried about the possibility of Andy not getting in and Andy's hopes being crushed and what she would do about that. Now, when Andy tells Bex and Bowie her application is finished, but she's not sure whether she should submit it, Bex ends up saying she trusts Andy's judgment, which was actually not the words of encouragement that Andy was hoping for. Andy was hoping Bex would be like, no, you are so talented, you totally have a chance of getting in, you should totally submit it. So not hearing those words actually upsets Andy and puts Bex into overdrive with her worry mode. Now later, Jonah surprises Andy and Andy seeks his advice about what she should do about sending in her application without actually telling him what she needs advice for, because she doesn't want to, disrupt everything in her life as far as her friends go, putting the idea that she might be going to a different high school or getting even her own hopes up.
Seems to make you tense and nervous. I'd say no.
You would?
If you wanted to say yes, you wouldn't be asking me this question.
Well, unfortunately for Andy, it's too late to follow Jonah's advice because she ended up slamming her computer when Jonah arrived, and so she accidentally somehow hit that submit button. Then Bowie finds a postcard from Sava saying they got Andy's application, and he and Bex realize Andy didn't come to them to tell them that she even submitted the application. So they decide to wait for her to do it on her own time and put the postcard back at the mailbox. They then spy on Andy getting the mail, but when Andy comes in and doesn't ever tell them about the postcard, Bex is pretty confused.
Kids don't tell their parents everything. We didn't.
I know. I just thought we were different.
I mean, growing up as a kid, there's a lot of hard lessons in life, and you learn a lot of hard lessons as a parent as well, which Bex and Bowie are now finding out that, parenting isn't as easy as you might think it could be. As for what's going on with the Amber and Jonah saga now that they've broken up, Amber's actually still pretty upset, and rightfully so, about this breakup and the way it was handled, so she asks Jonah to stop coming to the Spoon for a while until she gets over their breakup because it's affecting her. She's extra sad, and sad waitresses don't end up getting that many tips from their customers. And for the first time in what seems like forever, like I mentioned, we see Jonah actually, I think, process that he has hurt somebody, or maybe that he's actually lost someone important in his life, or could lose them. And he's showing some emotions and maybe realizing what he's done wrong. Now later, he's actually waiting for Amber outside of the Spoon, which for her is a little too soon, but he has a reason. Jonah wants to tell her something that he feels like he could only tell Amber because she was there for him for one of his darkest times when his dad lost his job. Now Jonah happily reports to Amber that his dad found a new job and they're actually going to be moving into a new apartment, and he thanks Amber for helping him get through all of this. And while Amber still isn't ready to let Jonah come back to the Spoon, she does make sure he gets a free milkshake. So baby steps on the way to maybe repairing a friendship here. At least I kind of hope, because I do like them as friends. And like I said, it was nice to see Jonah not be just a smiley robot this episode, and he's kind of learning the saying is true. You don't know what you got till it's gone, right? As for Buffy, she now has a stress fracture caused by her ego, but more importantly, running a marathon with no training. Now she is super bummed because she cannot play in the Spike's last basketball game of the season, and she was excited about that game because she's seen her team make progress and she thought they had maybe more than a slight chance of winning, or maybe just a slight chance. Now, even more bummed out is her teammate Caitlin and, well, the whole team, who just don't even want to play without Buffy. Buffy, however, thinks, like I said, that they've made improvements, and so she's made this playbook, and with some coaching she thinks she can help Caitlin and the rest of the team, but they're just too bummed to even consider this option. Now, when the team comes to surprise Buffy at home to throw their end of the season party, well, before the end of the season, because they just feel like they won't be up for it if they lose their last game, they end up reviewing some old game footage, and Buffy starts giving the players tips on what they've been holding back on all season. And how does a girl not notice she's closing her eyes when she shoots the ball? Don't you realize that? That's like a big thing. I don't know. Well, like I said, Buffy starts giving them tips, and it finally clicks for the team that they could have a chance if they work on these little things that Buffy is pointing out to them. They're kind of easy fixes. So they go into coaching mode. Buffy gives them the playbooks, they work on it, and what do you know? The team wins their final game. Now, as I briefly mentioned earlier, I love seeing this evolution of Buffy. She's no longer that selfish player. She's become such a team player, and even knows that helping and coaching is something that makes somebody better. Like, she also even admitted that she was in the wrong when it comes to running that marathon in the first place, which first season Buffy would have never admitted what had actually happened and chalked it up to something else, like, oh, I just kind of tripped over something. But, like, the best Buffy full circle moment of this episode comes when she runs into none other than TJ Kippen.
Hey, Speedy.
What are you doing, you weirdo?
Now, you see, Buffy is going to be late for class, and she's hobbling across this football field when TJ ends up driving up in a golf cart.
Giving you a ride to class. I heard about your foot. That's rough. So hop in already. Second bell is about to ring.
Yeah, he heard that she was hurt and decided to help her out and stole this golf cart to drive her to class. And it makes Buffy even tell the whole group that TJ went from being the worst to the best. So just like Buffy is now thinking of other people, TJ's thinking of other people, and it just makes me love this whole episode just for these two storylines, because it gives Cyrus a chance to finally gloat to Buffy about what he actually saw in TJ all along.
And who was perceptive enough to see the good in him first?
Don't pull a muscle patting yourself on the back, Cyrus.
I'll do it the normal way, when I floss.
Now, there is a downside to this whole thing, as unfortunately TJ's good deed comes with consequences because, well, he did break some rules by stealing a school golf cart, and he has to go in front of the student court to get his punishment, which he says could get him suspended or kicked off the basketball team, and that's like the ultimate punishment for him. Well, once his good old buddy pal Cyrus hears about this, Cyrus says he will not let this happen and kicks things into overdrive, maybe going a little overboard, acting as TJ's lawyer in the school hearing where they don't actually need lawyers, but, you know, the intentions are there. You know, once Cyrus gets that, you know, idea that he's helping his friends in his head, he's gonna do whatever he can, and while Cyrus definitely thinks what he's doing is right and it's kind of funny, and he's just trying to be a good friend, we see TJ actually get a little embarrassed. I mean, that's the true sign of friendship, right? Now, when TJ is summoned back to hear what his sentence is, TJ finds out he's guilty, but he only ends up getting a lunchtime detention, which is essentially the only punishment that the student court is actually allowed to give. So basically, they all worried a little too much about this whole thing. And, well, now that they know what the punishment is, there's still that little spark of old rebellious TJ in him, and TJ's rebellious side decides to come out again, and he steals that golf cart, and he and Cyrus go for a joyride. And if they ever make a Fast and Furious golf cart edition, well, Vin Diesel better watch it.
Let's go drift, drift, drift!
Woo! But I think what I love about that little scene is that we get to see Cyrus kind of like loosen up a bit. Maybe show a little bit of his, you know, non-goody-goody side, break the rules a tiny bit by hopping in that golf cart with TJ. Now, that's not always going to be a good thing, especially if, you know, Cyrus likes somebody and they want him to do something horrible, actually horrible. Hopefully Cyrus doesn't give in to that. But this little moment of rebellion for Cyrus and just him and TJ, this whole relationship, whether it is just a friendship or alluding to something more, which a lot of people want, it was just cute in the development of that whole relationship. But yeah, that wraps up this episode of What Happened, kind of, because those were the main events of this episode of Andy Mack. It kind of was short and sweet because there were so many storylines that they all were kind of short, right? So now we just have to wonder if Andy will get into art school, and that kind of seems like the only real cliffhanger besides the wedding we have as of right now. So let's watch the promo for the next episode.
I can't believe it. This is the first thing I've ever won. Thank you.
What did you win?
Oh, a car!
Flying lessons.
Stop guessing. You're gonna make the thing I actually did win seem not as cool as it is.
Alright, so what on earth could Bex even be winning that it's such a big deal that we have to have an episode about it, right? If it's something, has to tie into something bigger, otherwise what's the point of it? At least for it to be in the promo. I feel like the throwaway storylines usually aren't in the promos. So let's hope Bex wins something good, right? Maybe like a vacation, a honeymoon that would force me like, well, we can't take a honeymoon without a wedding, right? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But let's watch the other part of the promo.
Gonna be okay for tomorrow afternoon.
I want to be when my dad got a new job, and we want to know how long it's gonna take.
We'll help you.
Buffy! Buffy! You gotta see this!
Alright, so the kids are helping Jonah move, and Cyrus finds something interesting. So now we got two mysteries out of this one promo. What on earth could Cyrus have found in Jonah's stuff, or is it Jonah's family's stuff? Like, that would make him be like, oh, what? I'm so curious, and I need to know if you all have any theories about that or what Bex won. So leave me them. So leave all your thoughts and theories down in the comments below, and let me know your favorite moments from this week's episode. Now, the season is wrapping up. We don't have too many episodes left, so let me also know how you think the show and the series will wrap up for our characters. After that, I've got a really fun interview with the voice actors from SpongeBob SquarePants, which you can see somewhere right over here. And as always, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back and hang out with this big nerd. And by this big nerd, I mean me, Lisa. And I'll see you guys next time.